because then you have this huge chunk of money that someone has. And if at some point in time, someone has this and controls this, you have again something similar to a fiat system. Right? If you control, let's say Bitcoin becomes our money. We have no fiat money anymore. If a single entity has the keys to half the money in the world, you have again something like a fiat system. You have again a Cantillon effect, because the central authority again is responsible for distributing the money. Like you have a central bank built on the time chain essentially, and that's why the rats actually live not that different from us. They have their own poverty issues, but it's like an elevated poverty. You have all your material needs are met. Like we talked before, like everything you have, even if you have no money, you will not starve, you will not freeze. There are options, but you have no freedom. You have no freedom in movement. You have no freedom of expression. You're basically a slave to your biology and nothing more.
Doesn't sound too good also.
Yeah, but that's at least how I pictured this future.
I'm so excited to read it. I will show it for people again. Like read this. I'm really. This is how we actually met. I read something from you on Twitter, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting."
Yeah.
And then we just like.
What was it? What was it that made you interesting?
I don't know. It's been so long. Like I think it's been 1.5 years now.
Yeah.
Or like something like that.
Yeah.
That we recorded the first one. But it was something on Twitter. I think it was like a thread or like a smaller article on that, like something like that. And I was like, oh shit, like let's talk to this guy. But it's super interesting. I had one more thing. Oh yeah, like basically then is the whole book, if you take it as that, also a major advertisement for self-custody? If you have the origin story of that whole thing with the basically all coins are at one party, and then this whole thing went in the direction that it went, is then like, oh, okay, like we want to avoid that Bitcoin kind of becomes bank coin, and like most Bitcoin are held with a custodian. We want to have self-custody, run our own nodes and stuff like that.
It's very subtle. The book, you will not find the word Bitcoin in this book even a single time. You will find many other words that will sound familiar to anyone who knows, who is in this bubble. Let's open a random page and see if we find something. For instance, the spaceships. There are two huge spaceships in the story. One is called the USS Halving, and the other is called the USS Nakamoto.
I love that. Halving.
So it's full of references. It's basically a love letter to this whole community, in a way. But it also tries to appeal to a casual science fiction reader who has no idea what this whole thing is, right? I wanted it to be also accessible for young adults to read, or for people who didn't even think about money at all, or how money influences how legal systems work and how that all ties together. So it could also be a work that brings someone into the whole Bitcoin world. If self-custody is then something they will learn from it, yeah, sure. I mean, at the end, it is a huge warning sign for everyone who knows to not leave their coins on centralized exchanges, all that stuff.
I love that.
At least not all of it.
I just thought if you see that, like if you see that on the shelf somewhere, you would never think about Bitcoin.
But if you know about it,
then you constantly think about it.
Then you will immediately recognize it. I think, right?
Yeah.
It's like what do you call it? A dog whistle.
Full
of dog whistles.
Dog whistles. That is interesting. Yeah, that's been amazing. We have one question that I asked each and every one of my returning guests, actually, and I'm very interested in that. And the question is, what have you learned since our last episodes outside of Bitcoin?
Outside of Bitcoin, yeah, I learned that it's a lot more work to write a book than I initially thought.
I hear it from everyone who wrote a book.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
But I heard it also, but I'm like, nah. I now have AI tools that help me do the research. I'm an IT guy. I know how to build, because you need to also, if you do it seriously, you need to build this whole pipeline that creates the PDF, you know. This whole publishing is this whole different rabbit hole. So yeah, that was an interesting journey to actually, like the whole thing besides the writing itself, what goes into the research. Also, I thought like it's now end of September, and I thought it's finished in December. And then I had a group of amateur and professional editors to go through it. Got lots of feedback. So like 50% of it is new since this, where I thought it's done.
It was like 9 months ago.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's something I knew from other fields, like from IT. Like your program is also 20% finished when you think you're done, right? But it's interesting to rediscover and be ignorant again about this writing thing that I found very humbling, to be honest.
I set out to do something. I was like, from the things that I learned on the podcast, I want to write a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I never said I will publish a book because I don't want to put that burden on myself. If there ever comes a book, then there's a book coming. But I don't think it will. I'm not an author. I'm also not good with writing. I'm not very skilled with it. But from that experience alone, just like sitting down and writing on your own, I was like, oh, how do I actually think about that? It changed something. Like I think it really makes you a better thinker, a better speaker, and this only from like a few pages that I write, and I write not science fiction, which is what I heard a whole nother level. Like science fiction is like 10x harder than just like writing about why Bitcoin, for example, which is an actual thing. But yeah, it's what I hear from all authors, but I want to believe it, but I still have to try.
But you have to try to really believe it.
I guess so. They have to put the proof of work in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Actually, one more thing that just came to mind with the whole philosophy of Bitcoin, like how it will change the human mind if we then actually have to put proof of work in everything.
Yeah.
That we first had that fiat debt system, but then all of a sudden, like for everything also collateralized, we have to put in actual proof of work to get some things.
Yeah.
How will it change things?
It will be a completely different philosophy. Almost like a new religion of some sorts, because religion is also more or less a moral framework and a framework for how people interact with each other. Like if you drill it down to the core principles, that's what religions or belief systems do. They create a way to think and interact with each other. Like all religions have that. And it's always some connection with money, interestingly. Like all major religions have some money connection. And also tell the people how they should conduct their monetary things, right? The whole Bitcoin ethos is like it takes influence from all the major religions, I think, and creates something completely new in this way that you have to do the proof of work first. There is no debt in this system, and also the lessons that every time you do the debt, you fall on your face, essentially. Like that's a whole new lesson that people in the fiat world, they don't learn it. You fail with your company, you go bankrupt, you start a new company. You repeat this. And at some point, your company becomes so big that you go into politics, and then this whole game repeats.
Then you have to bring Donald Trump golden buttons.
Exactly. This never stops, right? Until you die, you have to do a bigger scam. Like if you look at some scam artists in our sphere, right? They never stop. They always move to some bigger thing until they end up in jail or disappear. But you know, the system forces you to get bigger stakes, bigger debt every time. And in the core Bitcoin ethos, you cannot do that. Once you burn your collateral, it's done. It's gone. There is no second bailout.
I like that because also then people only do things that they are set out to do. Like they only. I mean, with company, we have that a little bit. If you found a company in Austria, you have to put up at least 5,000 euros, which is not a whole lot, but at least you lose something, which is an interesting thought of like, okay, whatever you do, you have to put some collateral there. And you know that if you fail, this will be lost forever and it won't be yours anymore. And so you think twice about it. And this changes a lot. Like this, you can literally go in every single category of what humans do, and you're like, oh yeah, that changes. Yeah.
But you live on you try to live on a Bitcoin standard, right? You must have these thoughts like a lot of times, right? Do I really need this Labubu or what's it called? Or do I stack some sets?
I have it here. I had iPhone 14, I think 14 Pro. I scaled down to iPhone 11.
Okay.
Because the iPhone 14 Pro was rented. Terrible decision. And I paid 70 euros or 60 euros in total for it, with like the plan or like how's it called, mobile plan plus the phone. And then I switched my mobile plan to one that is 9 euros per month. It's absolutely enough for me. It's still actually too much for me, like the 9 euro plan, but like
you cannot really go cheaper than that.
You cannot really go cheaper, even though you don't.
I had the same journey, by the way.
and the iPhone cost me 200 euros. And so after 4 months, I made profits on that. And the funny thing is, I scale down things in my life, even though my net worth grows, which is a very different thing to most people. As their net worth grows, their fancy things grow.
Yeah. And lifestyle inflation.
Exactly. Yeah. It's crazy for me to like. This is just a very small example of that, but I try to do it with every single thing. And I'm now debating since about a year if I should like change it out, because the battery life sometimes gets bad. So right now I only have 50%, even though I didn't do a lot today. And then I saw a lot of people, for example, debating, oh, should I get the new iPhone 17? And I was like, that's a terrible decision. Why don't you get the 16E? It's half the price, it's still a very new iPhone, and it can do everything. It's just not as fancy as the new ones. And it has a better, the 16E has a better battery life than, for example, the 15 Plus Pro has. And it's a small phone. It's smaller than this actually one. And sorry for a small rant, but it's like, I earn Bitcoin, so I'm forced to sell it to pay for fiat bills, and this really makes me think twice every single month. And a year ago, I wouldn't have sold any Bitcoin, but now, as my income is mostly in Bitcoin directly, most of my bills are still in fiat. I pay 1 or 2 freelancers in Bitcoin, but that's it. All other bills are, except like I'm at Toshi, sometimes on the Vienna meet I'm going and paying in Das Delicious a burger with Satoshis, but outside of that, everything is in fiat. It really makes you think. It really is like, oh, should I sell this now? Like, if October is coming now, like, should I sell my Bitcoin? Or like exchange it for goods and services in that point?
Maybe the cycle is over, Nobody knows.
You think that?
It's a thought I have for a long time. Like, it could have well be that, like in Euro so far, we didn't do a new all-time high since January actually. So no one knows what the price will do, right? That's the ultimate thing. So, but I wanted to get back real quick to your iPhone thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm very similar. I'm also a cheap person, always was. How I trick myself is ask my question, okay, I really want this thing, right? But then I think, like, is this a business decision, right? If it helps my business, if I can monetize it, then I go all out. Then I buy the best thing ever because I know if this, incurs opportunity costs in my business at any point, like in your case, a better studio, better camera, whatever, like, yes, spend the money because you will get better returns than any investment, even better returns than Bitcoin. If you spend it on your business and do that. I think you had this experience as well. But for private stuff, like, use a broken screen, who cares?
It's the same thing. For example, this here at that time where I bought it, now there's a new one out. You can actually nicely compare them. At the time, this one was the best microphone. It's the one that Joe Rogan and all the podcasters use. And I was like, I have a podcast. Like, I need a great microphone. And I just bought it. And I was like, oh, that was more than my phone. Way more, actually.
Yeah. But it has a return on investment, and your TikTok reels have no return on investment.
Exactly, yeah. Also, a great side effect, if your phone has a broken screen, you spend less time on it, which makes you money. So, like,
because you always have to plaster your fingers. Or,
a broken screen might be a good business decision. We have an routine, as you might know, where the previous guest is asking a question for the next guest without knowing who the next guest actually is. And the previous guest asked you the question, if you met Satoshi, what question would you ask him? Yeah.
So I have this wide theory, and this theory will sound familiar because many people in the space have it, that Satoshi will be called at some point the second coming of Jesus Christ. So Jesus was also active only for 3 years, and then was inactive for 2,000 years. So I hope I will get the opportunity to meet Satoshi, but it will have to be in 2,000 years. I hope I'm still around then with all the biotechnology we discussed. But I probably won't recognize him because he has moved on to other things.
Thank you for watching this video. This was only a snippet of the podcast. And if you want to watch the full episode and get all of the context of this episode, you can click right here or here.
maybe also here.